Alright, the next site we're going to check out is DailyKos. That's this little icon over here. I actually increased the size of the text in my browser here so we might be able to see a little bit more of that. Atrios one didn't go so well. Alright, so check it out. DailyKos, super important site. I guess what's most important about it, it's one of the top two blogs on the net probably right now. There's Eschaton and DailyKos. What's so cool about DailyKos is it really provides kind of like a community atmosphere. So there's, I don't know how many hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people read this or write it or kind of actively engage with it, but there's a lot of people coming here, a lot of traffic, a lot of ideas floating around, a lot of discussion, so it's very good for that. And it's kind of like helping to bring people in who want to get active in the government and stop being lazy asses and things like that, and want to, kind of stop crying about, their money being wasted by the government, actually want to do something about it for a change. So that's pretty cool. Let's check out, let's see what's going on here. You can sign up for an account and stuff like that. I think I'm actually kind of logged in already, but you don't have to. I think you just kind of cruise around here. I think you have to get an account if you actually want to post comments and whatnot, but for right now, let's see open thread. You're going to see a lot of these. There's a little there's more, there's kind of category, here's a there's more. That means click this and you'll kind of see what is this open thread. Open thread generally means post kind of anything you want in here about whatever idea, hey, it's a nice day, anyone go outside today, maybe if you're from Oakland, you're like, yo, it's kind of windy out here, I need a windsurfing partner, let's go check that out. But most of the time it'll be politics related, because that's what this type of site is. You'll see up here the kind of subtitle for the website. It's political analysis and other daily rants on the state of the nation. What's cool about this open thread is so you can kind of cruise down here and post whatever you want down in this general area. Or these things here are called diaries. I actually don't even necessarily know what they are. They're kind of like these kind of dedicated pseudo kind of websites within DailyKos that really kind of expand on one issue. So one person will kind of take a lot of time and put in a lot of effort to kind of gem out some topic, like Civil Edmonds. This is a super important case going on. This is Ashcroft telling this lady who used to work at the FBI, like, no, you can't tell anyone your story. All this stuff about all these terrorists and all these criminal organizations that are, have infiltrated the FBI and all this kind of stuff, but you can't tell anyone because I said so, kind of thing. Totally absurd, totally ridiculous. Welcome to Bush world. Anyway, so it looks like this person, Neurotic Blonde, has kind of done some work on it, and basically from that open thread here, a bunch of people, or Kos or whoever, has kind of said, yo, let's bump this thing up, let's make this a little more popular, let's get this some attention. So you can jump in here, you can kind of see what's going on with her, and she's like super mad because she wants to kind of tell her story. She wants to make America safer and all that kind of stuff, but Ashcroft and these guys are like, no way, it's going to hurt us politically, you can't talk. Basically he's afraid that people are going to know that Bush and him and all his people are a bunch of incompetents, so he's trying to shut her up, and he's been pretty effective so far. So we're trying to help her get her story heard. Let me jump back out here. Anyway, more typical of these things. Koufax Awards just came out. I think Kos won best blog for this year or something like that. Atrios was a guy we just visited before. I think he might have got second place this year. So here might be a typical post: congressional Dems stirring into action. And basically, a lot of what blogging is, he'll talk about this guy. Who is this guy? Some blog called America Blog. You can see it kind of down here. I can link to it if I want. Kind of see what was actually written in this one particular post, see what's going on. But what's cool about blogs is, for instance, in this case, see this box here, this grayed out box, someone's kind of read all the stuff and just pulled out just the most important stuff to kind of help us, go back to our jobs and actually get some work done, so we can kind of read this, get a good idea of what's going on, and then boom, we're back to work. Link and discuss. This is kind of like the more complicated version of that comment section that we saw on Atrios. There's nested comments, so you can have all like 15 different kind of strains. You know, one guy will be like, yo, here's the important part of this story, and someone will be like, no, here's the important part of the story, and kind of like different kind of smaller conversations going on within the framework of the overall conversation. And that's about it for DailyKos. I mean, you know, that's about all I can think of right now. All right.